Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I'm Cloud Hudson, your meteorologist for the evening, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about now. I was just getting discouraged yesterday, no, the day before, when we had that lull, that little quiet, calm before the storm day. I was like, what am I going to do on the days when there's no weather? Guys, there's always weather. There's always weather. There's always so much weather to talk about. And today is no different. Oh my God. Let's start with the astrology so that I can work my way down from the big to the small. Because there's a lot to cover. Let me go ahead and share the screen. I want to show y'all I've got pulled up here. Okay. And yes, here we go. So, as we saw today, we had the exact conjunction of Venus and Mars in Aquarius at 7 degrees of Aquarius. That was right after both of them had passed over the newly ingressed Pluto in Aquarius. And that happened as right after this degree was opposed by the moon. So it's almost like a full moon, but for this Mercury or this Mars Venus conjunction, excuse me. Mercury is still on the anaretic degree of Aquarius, which I have a strong connection to personally. That last degree of Aquarius, but there's a lot to learn there. That's about to ingress into Pisces, and we'll go from having a Aquarius stellium into having a Pisces stellium. So I'm really excited to we went from a Capricorn season with a Capricorn stellium to an Aquarius season with a Aquarius stellium. Now we're about to enter a Pisces season with a Pisces stellium. And we all know that Pisces is the end of the zodiac wheel, which is the death and rebirth and new generation sign. So I don't mean to sound so excited because it's going to be a little gnarly. Things are already a little gnarly for people. Yesterday, Wednesday, I did not have the chance to broadcast because it was just such a tumultuous day from many sides, factors, stories. Many shadow sides were presenting themselves to me and everybody in my life. Everybody was, shadow sides, we don't remember what our biggest faults are until it slaps us in the face of like, you were neglecting that part. And I knew that I would be reminded of what I haven't dealt with yet. And I did get some reminders, but I'm also super grateful for the opportunity to have new things to analyze. And I think that is anything that just smacked us in the face with power and obviousness and the aligning of your like material reality with your dreams and action and what motivates you. Recently, I think we're about to have a great opportunity to sit and reflect on that with Mercury about to come join the sun right near Saturn in Pisces. So that's all I have to say about that. I could also talk about how this Venus-Mars conjunction happened in a pretty square aspect to Jupiter in Taurus. But I could also talk about how this Venus-Mars conjunction was when exact, like right just a few hours ago when we had this next major weather update, which is our most recent X-class flare. Okay, in the last 2 hours, our largest has been that M7.1, but our most recent solar flare happenings, we've had 3 X-class flares within 24 hours, barely, because the first one was right before midnight UTC yesterday, February 22nd. So, like, I mean, really right before it turned February 22nd, we got a X 1.9. Now, this has been downgraded from an X. Okay, I said 3X flares because when the last I checked, we were getting readings up into the X 6.3 range. But now it looks like they have downgraded this. No, I see it here. I see it here. It went so far up the scales that I couldn't even. Yeah, there we go. There's the X 6.3 right here. It's not even showing on this. Let me see if I put goes 18 on. It'll show. Yeah, I needed to turn on the data from goes 18 because goes 16 didn't even pick that up. It just went off the scales for goes 16. But here at February 22nd at 22:30, so began probably at February 22nd, 2222 is when it. Yeah, look at that. February 22nd, 2004. So 222-2024 at 2222. We had the the second X flare within 2 hours, or within 24 hours. No, the third one. We had the third X-class flare within 24 hours because this one was at like 22. This one was at 23. So we are just within the range of 3 X-class flares within 24 hours. Y'all, this is amazing. This is really cool to see after I was expecting. When we had such quiet solar weather on Tuesday, I was like, this cannot be all. This cannot be all that's out there. And yeah, this is what we were pulling back from. This is the slingshot that was pulling back when we had no visible sunspot groups on the Earth-facing disk of the sun. I was thinking, this is our little lull. This is the other shoe about to drop. And it looks like we had 3 shoes drop today. I don't even know what I mean by that, but pretty much no matter where you were on Earth, you were getting some sunlight while there was an X-class flare. Even the we had like an M7, M4.8 right before this X-class flare, and then this X got all the way up to like a 6.3. That's remarkable. That's really, really incredible. So, and the fact that the first 2 were only 7 hours apart this morning. Think about how you dreamed last night, how you slept last night, what you were thinking about last night. This is the stuff that's resonating with this. Now, there also was a cell phone service outage in North America today, and that's been subject of widespread speculation. A nationwide cell phone outage for AT&T was occurred this morning, but there's actually no correlation. Well, there's a correlation. There's a time-wise. They coincided. They were coincident. These were coincidences, but there's not the that experts say that this can't be related is that solar flares only affect high-frequency communications, radio wavelengths in the 1 to 30 megahertz region. Cell phones work in a lower frequency band. They don't need the ionosphere to function. But yeah, they operate on frequencies 300 times higher than these radio wavelengths that are affected by solar flares. Now, I disagree with that analysis because you can create ultra high and ultra low vibration. Like, the order of magnitude of vibrations can affect each other. Like very different order of magnitude vibrations can interfere and cause new lower than their frequency vibrations. So I don't know if we could use a lower vibration to tune up, but you definitely can use a higher vibration to tune down. And I'll demonstrate that with my slightly out of tune bells here, my ting ting bells. These are slightly, the knots are slightly off kilter. So even though the brass is tuned to the same wavelength, they don't always, depending on like the angle they're having with the chain, they don't always make the same exact noise as each other because uh because of their slight difference in the dampening from the cord being tied slightly different on each one. They resonate at like a slightly different frequency, and that causes a third emergent frequency. So you can hear there's a small, do you hear that small little difference? The small little bright, like shiny tuning sound? Um, you don't have to use a resonator that's in the frequency that is being affected in order to affect the frequency. That's what I'm trying to say. But there are indirect ways they could be causing issues. There could be power surges. There could have been there's a few different things, but this was on when the solar flares took place during the night in North America, which means the solar flares did not affect the ionosphere here at any point. Not true. I believe, in my opinion, that the night side of the Earth can, in fact, have some residual blackouts and effects by coupling of the ionosphere regions of charge from the front of the Earth to the back of the Earth. In the magnetotail, I believe that there is possibility for recombining events that would result in cell phone outage. But that is not my area of research. I'm just putting out there why I think it's plausible that people would think that the cell phone range of radiation could be affected by these back-to-back solar flares. Matter of fact, let's go back to the solar flares and think about our analogy of the bells again, and think about these two solar flares being rung slightly out of peak with each other. They are a X 1.7 and an X 1.9. That's 0.2 away from each other. Sorry, this is washing me out so much. I don't know why. But I wonder if these two can't be thought of as ringing out of the bell of the sun, just slightly far away from each other, slightly far away enough that it creates a extremely low frequency interference pattern, which then could translate to different things. I don't want to talk about how you can use high energy amplitude resonance manipulation in order to stimulate low frequency. I'm not going to use keywords that are like buzzwordy for like things that people wouldn't want me to say online, but I will say that it's possible to resonate up and change your frequency based on time dependent size intervals of different ratios of power and frequency being. Okay, I'm trying not to say some parts of it while explaining it, and that's very hard. But as you can see, let's take a look at the sunspot region that created all these beautiful flares today. This is region 3590. And this is the one that they've been talking about. Oh my gosh. Since I last loaded this page, there's been 150 posts on the forum messages about that sunspot group. This is as we've seen this group rotate onto the Earth-facing disk of the sun. And it's really, let me see, where's the page where I get to see, I want to be able to zoom back and forth between the intensity gram and the magnetogram. Yeah, this is the one. Okay. Remember 3586, not nothing, a very beautiful alpha, but not doing much. Look at this baby right here. Remember 3576, like just a week ago? I want to zoom in on this little thing right here. Let's take a look. Where have we seen a waveform like that before? Where have we seen this pattern? Y'all? Can I zoom in any more? Do you see this perfect ocean wave break shape of waveform interaction here? Do you see the bands of, this is like almost a perfect circle right here, but I'm not going to talk about that. Do you see the, okay, I'm just going to draw with this. Let's see. I want it here, here, and here. Oh, that's way too big. Tiny size. Do you see this one that goes up and around and back down like a wave? And you see this one that looks like this, this, and this. Got the little turbine action. Do you see the big circle here? Okay, that's shitty. I gotta get a touchscreen pin for this. You see this little circle, this like volcano, having some outflow boundary looking cloud shapes. Yeah, all I'm saying is there's a lot going on with this region, and I don't think it's done. It's showing us its power, and it's also connected by magnetic field lines to these larger coronal hole areas. Remember, this isn't a hole. This is the negative and positive ranges of magnetic flux. Let's zoom out and take a look at just the intensity gram, because this is really interesting to me. This little guy right here. This region also looks like a nice like dot of dye into a really sharply sloped border of watercolor. So if you put watercolor on a like if you put water on a hydrophobic piece of paper that won't absorb the water very fast, you get to play with the way that the pigment moves throughout the drop of water pretty easily. And you can place a little piece of pigment inside the water droplet, and that will show you the way that it distributes itself throughout the water drop on the paper. The pigment will show you the energetic field lines, like the it shows you the surface tension, and by that I mean electrostatic tension of the air-water interface, which also flips from the air-water interface inside the water to the pigment and water boundary interface. Anyway, this looks like a drop of pigment into one of those well-bounded beads of water that kind of shows you this frayed edge, this like cloudy tornado looking edge, or not tornado, hurricane spin-off looking edge. This shows you what the dynamics of the surface tension of the water drop, or this particular whole region, like not whole, this particular negative charge magnetic region orientate. It's really the orientation of the magnetic field, not of like a positive or negative. Like there's higher and lower charge. It's like a direction, not a magnitude. But magnitude is represented here by like color saturation. Like how bright of the color it is, that's the higher magnitude, but these are in the two opposite positive and negative directions of magnitude. I want to zoom out because I want to go back to, let's go back. I'll take my little drawing thing off. Let's take a look at the intensity gram, because you don't really get to see the internal wave guy. You don't get to see that little curlicue on the intensity gram, but you can definitely see how, like, if this was a mole on your skin, you'd be like, wow, that thing's active and not predictable, and I need to get that checked out by a doctor. That's what's happening here. This sunspot region is like that one mole that you're like, oh man, I keep drawing the lines around it and it's getting bigger. I guess I have to go to the doctor soon. This is it. This is us needing, the sun needs to go to a doctor. But let's look at the difference right here. You can see the little outflow bands showing, like in the intensity gram, you can see these ripple effects that I'm calling them showing up a lot better because it's just the pure intensity. And you see this here with this region that I also said looked like that big flowing band of atmospheric weather. It looks like a little heart on the intensity gram, but over here it looks like a druidic three. What's the three spirals in a triangle? It looks like that. So as you can see, we've got 30% chance of X flares. Really, really high likelihood. Considering that 1% is normal. All right, and then it looks like we've got a 10 centimeter radio burst going on. We've got, we usually expect some radio storms when we have a major X-class flare like this. Does it again. Third X-class flare and the strongest solar flare of the current solar cycle. So stronger than the New Year's one and stronger than the lunar New Year's one. Peaking at the respectable value of X 6.3, which is a R3 radio blackout level of strength. Let's see if they've updated anything on the homepage for this. No, it's just looking gorgeous. It doesn't look like it's affected solar proton levels too much. Let's see what it looks like on the Euro feeds. Not really showing up much. Let's see. Do we want to take a look at the solar coronal mass ejections? So these are from yesterday. Today/yesterday. The most recent one here at 12 UTC, 012 UTC. Showing a potential full halo. Or partial halo at least. Oh, not going to load. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Let's take a look at the one that happened just before the X flare then. Also not going to do it. Okay, cool. That's fine. That's fine. That's okay. We can take a look at the we can take a look at our solar dynamics observatory images. Let's just look at all of this composite. So I want to first take a look at the this composite view that also shows magnetic field lines, like the magnetic flux ropes going from like a positive to a negative. Maybe if it'll show up, hopefully. Yeah, I think internet's just being really slow right now. Look at that whopper. Look at that whopper over here, taking up like all quarter of the Earth facing disk of the sun. I mean, you see a little bit of noise in the background. This image looks pretty grainy. I wouldn't be surprised if that meant that we've got extra radiation coming at us again after last week when we had that radiation storm. Now we're getting more. Look at this is the region we're looking at right here, and it's connected to both this coronal hole and this coronal hole, going off in kind of twofold ways, like a trefoil, or looks almost like a clover or a club or something. And then you can see tons of lines within this solar region itself. And this really, this coronal hole connecting to a lot of smaller regions that are technically sunspots, but not sunspot cluster regions. And then you see more activity as things make it out to the flank, out to those like eastern and western flanks. Let's look at the video of this though, because the video of this one, whoo baby, it's beautiful. Look at that. Look at it, just snap, crackle, and pop. Showing so much. We got 1, 2, 3. Look how fast this comes. We go 1, 2. Wait, I missed it. I missed one. 1, 2, 3. Gorgeous. And as you see, that's not even the only area that's like popping off. We've got filament tornadoes wrapping up. We've got new sunspot regions trying to rotate into Earth view. We currently have this like line, this vertical line of coronal hole or like dimmer regions facing the Earth, meaning that the Earth facing solar wind component is faster than the side ones right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if that meant that it got sucked up. The X flare energy got sucked. Matter of fact, instead of me speculating on that, let's just go ahead and look at let's see if we've got any modeling released for any of these X flares yet. All right. Yeah, so 21, 22. So we're looking at that. Looks like it's the one coming from the far side, though. Looks like it's from the. I mean, looks like we've got Earth directed components for sure. But all right, let's take a look at. Yeah, these look like it looks like this is from a earlier launch, and we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer to see these are from coronal mass ejections, not necessarily the flares. The coronal mass ejections that we couldn't load but were beautiful today had a pretty wide, but like on the other side of the Earth. So this is the region. Really small differences here. This side is the region of the sun where these X flares happen, and this side is the region of the sun where we saw these larger coronal mass ejections happen. So they're kind of going, it's interacting with the Earth region, but it's not Earth direct. But I don't think that we're gonna see the end of this story anytime soon, because we just had. Anyway, there's a lot. There's a lot here. Let's see if this news story has any. That's a great image of it. more information provided tomorrow. Um, yeah. It's possible that some ejecta might have left the blast site. So we still don't know if there was a coronal mass ejection associated with this flare. It could have been just impulsively like released and not had a lot of gunk built up on top of the zit to pop out. But we'll see as more data comes in what this most recent X flare is going to mean for us. But the past two seemed to loosen up a lot of solar gunk. Let's see if any of these CMEs want to show themselves again. All right, maybe now it'll load better. Nope. Nope. Still don't want to show me the pretty pictures. Still don't want to show me the pretty pictures. Okay. Okay. Well, let's move on to terrestrial weather now because gosh, we're not even halfway through our update today, y'all. This is a big update. I mean, yes, I had to take yesterday off for the reasons of 3x flares happened in the day, and I had to take care of myself and my life and people around me, and things got a little chaotic. I'm a little used to chaos, but things did get a little chaotic last night, yesterday. A lot of things that have seemed stable are the things changing, and the things that have seemed up in the air seem to be the only things that you can count on. So let's take a look at current weather outlooks. We're only looking at some coastal flooding, maybe severe thunderstorm warning still going on in Arkansas, and a dense fog advisory throughout Lake Erie area coastline, much of the lakeshore area of Ohio. Today's severe thunderstorm outlook was looking better than it has for the deep south in a while, but probably not anything too bad. But we are looking at, yes, didn't really have less than 2% risk of tornado everywhere. But let's look at the next day. Let's see what our SPC has said. Okay, looking at some, I'll do the 4 panel. Looking at some risk for just severe thunderstorm in general and a big chance of hail throughout the South Carolina coast into the North Carolina coast. So looking like some bad weather from Myrtle Beach to Charleston. Now let's go. I'm not a forecaster. Let's go to analysis. I'm just here to recap what already happened for you. Okay, so in the temperatures, and we'll look at the global temperatures in a second. Don't forget, if anybody's new here, hi, welcome. I do all types of weather on this show. So we just talked about our astrological weather and our solar weather, and now we are moving into terrestrial atmospheric weather. That means the Earth air, the air around the Earth's weather, which is what people usually think of as weather. But it's all weather. Look at this beautiful ridge swelling up into the Gulf states, into the Midwest of the United States. Texas really getting the hot one today. I think it went all the way up to the 90s. So we are seeing 90s in. No, did we get anywhere in 90s technically in these border regions? High 80s to 90s. Yeah, I think like one frame at the peak of the day, they had 90s, and they just had like snow in these mountain regions the other day. So really high variability in temperatures right now. That's the sign of the ebbing winter, flowing in spring. But we're not quite out of spring or out of winter yet. We've got still a good bulk of cold air hanging out over much of Canada, and that's letting the air spill back down the eastern seaboard. So even as this trough from the southwest comes up, or peak ridge, as this ridge from the southwest brings higher temperatures and higher moisture content into the main part of the United States, there's still a lot of cold air to play with on the backside and front side of these air masses, which will cause folding and inversion layers and help the vertical motion to spur up some storms. That's why right here we're looking at the best chance of storms, because this is where we've got the highest temperature and pressure gradient right here in the Carolina coast. And that's because, states like North Carolina and Virginia have that really high gradual elevation change. And this is a really high thermal mass area that's going to stay cold for way longer than the flat areas where it's just a lot of air. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at those dew points, because this is spilling a lot of moisture in. Yeah, look at all that. A beautiful, provident, bountiful flow of moisture right into the center of the country. That's why Arkansas is currently under some, a few counties in Arkansas are looking at severe thunderstorm warnings right now. But this, as we go through the weekend, this is setting up this area for good potential of thunderstorms next week too. So I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into forecasting too much, but I am going to say pretty nice day across most of the US, but not a fun one. Maybe you dealt with your internet being out all day, or maybe you were just feeling the effects of the X flare. The X flares, the 3 X class flares we had today. Holy guacamole. In the past 3 days, California is still not getting any kind of relief from the just torrential rain. They're not torrential rain. It's not literally a torrent. I think that's a specific unit threshold that I have to reach to be a torrent. But there's still a lot of rain in the higher elevations, the upper Sierras, in the LA Valley basin, all the way up to the Pacific Northwest coastal areas. Still getting a lot of some residual rainfall, and this is where we're getting all those foggy warnings up in Ohio, but really not too much on the United States scale. So let's go ahead and look at Zoom Earth, which that is Zoom Earth is a great one to look at if we're seeing these global temperatures. I know it's a slow internet connection. Maybe I have like AT&T assisted internet or something. I'm not going to follow you on Facebook. All right. So here's that temperature shape. Let's look at that in the context of the rest of the world, though. Looking at... Dang it. I really like when they have stereographic projection. I don't like a Mercator projection. I think it over exaggerates the northern areas too much. But seeing a big warm up throughout the Pacific Ocean, you can kind of see these convective cells, large centers of circulation. These swirly twirly winds are mixing up the different areas of temperature really well. And that's the job of cyclones and anticyclones out in the atmosphere, is to swirl together all the different areas of more concentrated coolness and more concentrated warmth and moisture, etc. But let's take a look at Australia here, because we've got tropical disturbance Lincoln refusing to be at peace. Just had started out here in the Banda Sea and made its way into this Gulf coastal region, into the, is that the Bondi Beach? I don't remember what that area, the Gold Coast? I don't remember. It's one of those coasts in Australia. The northern coast of Australia has been just plagued by this tropical low Lincoln for a while. And then we also had the really strong category typhoon out here in the Indian Ocean has dissipated, but we've got it replaced with Eleanor, starting off the coast of Madagascar, looking like it's going to make one big circle back into Madagascar, and end up as a remnant low by the time it makes its landfall again. Let's take a look at that on satellite. Yeah, and this is the night side region currently. About to dawn. It's about to dawn on Eleanor and Madagascar. Pretty small looking storm. This disturbance, the disturbance Lincoln, is still causing a lot of onshore flow from the north and offshore flow from the southwest region of Australia. So still also got quite the spinner down here between south of Tasmania and New Zealand. But these are little gyres, little eddy systems, little in and out and in and out. Every other spiral goes high or low, or into and out of the page, or vertical transport, or what you know what I'm trying to say. All of those things that go with the different directions of circulations of storms. This is a beautiful confluence difluence axis right here, where it's converging from two. Actually, am I saying? Yeah, no, I'm doing it I'm doing it the right way. Yeah, it's converging from two. Nope, that's the wrong axis. Yeah, that's the right axis. It's converging from two sides of this four-cornered area, and it's diverging from the other two. This is just a really... I mean, I'm not even saying anything about the weather this causes. I'm just saying, look how pretty this is. You see this going in on these axes, and then this going out. When you see the nice crosshairs of the like convergent flow and divergent flow are going in towards each other and away from each other at the same time, you get a nice 4-quadrant view of what all of the types of streams of air coming together could make in the shapes of clouds. So here in the, if this is crosshairs of this area, you can see the quadrant 1 has that nice clockwise swirl, and quadrant 3 has that nice counterclockwise swirl. And then in the other two quadrants, in quadrants 2 and 4, you get the straight line winds going into each other and then swirling off. And that's how a big meshwork of mesoscale circulation centers work their way across the entire planet. Let's look a little closer into the Philippines, Japan region, because we've seen quite a bit of earthquake activity, and I'm going to go to earthquake activity in a second. in this area. Still continued volcanic activity as well. Uh, but we're looking at actively snowing and raining throughout most of Japan's main island and in a few places in China. Now, here in the northern Atlantic and north of Russia, we're looking at a few swirling residual low centers up here. Snow throughout Norway and Finland, and in the, I forget what the name of this strait is, but off the coast of the Netherlands, they got light rain going on, moderate rain, and it's raining throughout much of the United Kingdom, definitely down in London and throughout the entire island of Ireland, and getting some offshore light rain from near the Reykjanes Peninsula in Iceland. So I don't know why it doesn't want to show me any satellite from north of this. I'd love to see what the satellite looks like here. Let's take a look at the temperature. Yeah, it won't let me look at the satellite. Won't let me look at the pictures of what's at the North Pole, but it will let me look at the temperatures. Here in the Arctic Ocean. Okay, and it doesn't want to wrap around either. I don't like. See, this is why I'm always torn between Zoom Earth and Null Earth, because like Zoom Earth lets me see live radar on the global map, but Null Earth actually lets me see the Earth in any map projection that I want. I don't really like. In fact, let's go to Null Earth right now because I want to see this in a stereographic projection. Sorry, Zoom Earth, but you just need more map projection options. I don't believe in Mercator. I mean, I believe Mercator existed, but I'm not. I don't believe. I just don't believe in you. Okay. And instead of orthographic projection, I'm going to go stereographic projection. And then look, we can see how all the currents connect a lot better. Welcome to everybody who hasn't been here before. Please comment, introduce yourselves to each other. I would love to see it. Okay. So this shows us better what our global circulation pattern looks like around the entire North Pole area. And that shows that really the cluster of cold air is not tight around the pole anymore. There's little circulation centers. This is almost like a wave number of 3. Remember I explained wave number as being like, can you count the ridges on a scrunchie? Wait, have I explained that? I don't think I've explained that on stream yet. I've explained that to people in real life. So like, if I had 2 nodes, how do I pull this and show you? You can count the peaks and ridges in a circle like it's a wave, and that gives its wave number of the circulation around the poles. This looks like a really weirdly shaped wave number of 3 to me, in my opinion. I don't know. People could make an argument for 6 on that. Irrelevant. Most of the cold air is centered over Greenland, northern Canada, Nova Scotia, and Siberia in Russia, throughout some of the mountain ranges and into the Mongolian and Gobi deserts into China. And then also a good pocket of cold air in Nepal and the Himalayan mountains. Then if we zoom out and look at, that's what a summertime circulation looks like. Let's zoom out and go to look at the South Pole and what a I'm sorry, did I just say summertime? I meant wintertime. That's what a wintertime circulation in the North Pole looks like. In the South Pole, it is summertime, so that cold air is condensed down into the South Polar region. And so it's staying nice and tight. You almost don't even see too many deviations from the circle, like 1, 2, 3. It's like one peak and one trough. Like really small and tight and not very well varied. How many petals are on the flower? It's pretty hard to say. But this is where we're seeing a lot of that tropical storm activity, and it is an El Nino year. So if I face the, remember, this is a projection of the Earth as if I'm inside of the globe and looking out from inside. This is the southern Pacific Ocean, where the El Nino Southern Oscillation, the ENSO oscillation, occurs. And this is where we get underwater movement, like slightly under surface water movement of higher temperatures of water, oscillating back and forth between the East and West Pacific. And we are currently in a really warm phase of that, and we've got a lot of activity over here in the northern Pacific too. Let's not count out what's happening over here northeast of Hawaii or northwest of Hawaii. That's looking like it's shaping up to be a nice center of circulation, and this is the area of the planet where that was facing the sun when we got those back-to-back X 1.7 and 1.9 flares early this morning UTC time. So it was the middle of the day for Hawaii. They had in the middle of the day just got blasted with that X flare radiation. Not radiation, the X-ray it's still radiation, but with those X-class flares of X-rays, I mean. So moving on, that shows a good onshore. I mean, we're not looking at too much convection moving into the west coast of the United States. We got a lot of convective available potential energy in the southern Atlantic. Wonder what that's our PWatt cloud water. Let's look at our mean sea level pressure here. Looks like, all right. Wind at surface plus mean sea level pressure. Let's go with currents too. So this is where the highs and lows are, but this is the way that the currents are looking. Then we can see some of the oscillation of this air. Let's look at ocean SSTs. Okay. Ocean sea surface temperatures plus currents can show you the movement of water masses of thermal properties, like the contingency or the continuity, the continuation of different temperature thermal masses. That's not what I want to say. Like masses of same temperature, isothermal masses, moving across. It'll ripple throughout the bottom of the Pacific and kind of like a wave in a tank go back in on itself. So a few months ago, we were in the phase where most of the wave hit the Central America and South America coastline, where it then oscillates back to be in the Southern Ocean and in the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. And we're seeing a lot of that right now in that continued hot, moist air circulating, lots of thunderstorms throughout the area. Let's see. Is that all I want to talk about? Let's see what our Atlantic sea surface temperatures look like. Yeah, still, the Gulf Stream still golfing. It's still trying. It's still really doing its best to circulate in throughout the Gulf of Mexico and come back out on the western side of the Sargasso Sea and make its way all the way up to the northern Atlantic towards the British Isles. That's what you want to see on the surface for sea surface temperatures. There's also the Atlantic meridional overturning current, and that we can't see on the sea surface temperatures because that is a big upwelling and deep welling of, like, how waves crash on the surface. Well, they also have, there's really large vertical and pole to pole overturning of cool nutrient dense water and warmer, less salty, less nutrient dense water that goes throughout the global ocean circuit in order to redistribute the heat that gets spread out so unevenly on the sea surface temperatures. So let me go ahead, and we've talked so much today. Let's go ahead and take a look at let's look at our earthquake activity for today. And by for today, I mean the past 2 days. Okay. No maximum. Don't show me a maximum. I want to see all. Caution. It's giving me caution. Okay. Time range from not earliest available. Let's go from the 20th to the to today, to the latest available. Magnitude range all and depths all. Remember that I have a very exaggerated scale factor on the size of my quakes here. Let's show the plate boundaries and have a mixed data source. And let's look at it on satellite view. All right, really big, deep quake here in Java, Indonesia yesterday. A magnitude 5.1 at a 598 kilometer depth. Massive for so deep. That to me screams that there's either motion into or out of the earth. Because we see so much shallow quaking going on here, and look at how shh, phone, be quiet. Look at how cool, really cool spacing on the shallow fours that have rippled through. Let's see, the Adriatic Sea to Greece to the Eastern Caucasus, Black Sea and Red Sea area, the Iran-Iraq border. All of these, again, I'm pretty sure they're all going to say 10 kilometers depth. Most of them say 10 kilometers depth. One is 43, but yeah, a lot of these still going 10 kilometers deep. Here in near Mongolia, we've got a 5.1 at 10 kilometers depth. Still saying in the Xinjiang region of China. And then we've got this triangular area of focusing in of quakes. Looks like these shallow quakes are either moving in or out of the Hindu Kush region because that's where we're getting more vertical motion. Had a mid-range depth quake in Burma and lots of unrest here in Taiwan as well. 1, 2, 3, 4 medium range 4 magnitude 4 earthquakes all on the 20th. That was leading up to right before the deep 5 here in Indonesia. Papua New Guinea also not getting out of the woods. New Britain region. I don't believe so. I don't believe that's Britain at all. In the Admiralty Islands region, Papua New Guinea. Uh, yeah, right. What do the British still want there? I don't know. What are they doing out there? Um, Still seeing a lot of activity there, but at all ranges and all depths. Still seeing moderately deep earthquakes erupt off the southeastern coast of Honshu, Japan, which is not where we've seen most of the activity this year. But let's look again in the stretch of islands from New Zealand to the Kermadec Islands to really shallow 5.1 in Fiji, really deep 5.2 and 4.6 near Tonga. And let's see, who is the biggest here? 5.1 in Fiji, or because there's one at every depth layer. Look at this. As I get closer into this area, yeah, it's really not even on Papua New Guinea. It's here on the as we get into the Solomon Islands. Okay, 2 deep quakes south of Fiji, really right in the middle of. Remember how I keep talking about this plate boundary as being a really good illustration of a cresting wave, and how you can see that the Earth is a wave if you just look at the fact that this is swooping over like that. Um, Here in the Fiji Islands and near Tonga regions, we've got in the Tonga Islands 5.1 at 10 kilometers, a 5.2 at 355 kilometers, and a 4.6 at 556 kilometers deep. This is really deep, really significant. Let's see if I can animate just these quakes. Where do they come from? Where do they go? How does it? Oh, okay. Deep point, middle. It's like they're nearing in on something. It looks like the waveform is rippling back and forth here. Really looking for some sort of. I wouldn't even be surprised if there was like an eruption here, because it looks like there's some again, that wave tank, a wave in a tank image of the momentum that causes the earthquakes to be unleashed, rolling back and forth between that area. Now let's take a look at. I don't mean to ignore the Americas. We've got a ton of energy making its way into central Alaska by way of the Aleutian Island chains into southern Alaska, the Kenai Peninsula, and also quite a bit of activity on Hawaii's main island again, kind of circling around the island. Let's see. Got a nice string of quakes both in the 33 to 70 kilometers deep and the 150 to 300 kilometers deep ranges, but not in between, interestingly. And so many shallow quakes in the United States. Just the whole thing is just a little crumble cake of earthquakes. Magnitude 3 out here in Washington, continued central Texas quakes at a really shallow depth. I don't know if that has anything to do with aquifers drying up or pumping out all the oil that keeps the ground up. Maybe it's not great to move. Maybe we shouldn't take stuff out of the ground. Maybe it would stay more still if you didn't take stuff out. I don't know. Just a thought. Just a thought. Doesn't show the Brevard earthquake, but there was an earthquake down here in Brevard, North Carolina. and still seeing a lot of activity on every side of Puerto Rico. I don't know what to say about that, other than wonder what's going on there. Now let's go ahead and move on to our volcanic activity for the day. Oh man, I've been talking for like an hour straight. Okay. Volcanoes today. Volcanoes persist. We've got 27 in active eruption again. The usual suspects: Fuego, Popo, Semeru, Ducono, Nevado de Ruiz, and Sabancaya, all erupting. Let's take a look at this report. Has some great pictures. If I can click on that link. Nope, doesn't want me to click on the link. Okay, let's look at the one for the 22nd. Okay, this is what Ducono looks like erupting. Then we've also got the satellite image of its eruption. Really just one big vertical puff of clouds. Not showing. There was one that had great pictures of Popo, and I don't know where it went. Oh, here we go. Okay, so it was the update from the 21st. So the first update is Reykjanes Peninsula, the magma chamber, at least as recorded at this particular GPS station, looks to have inflated again to the same level that it did the last eruption. And I believe that we need a little bit more time to have the fully inflated magma chamber put its work from the thermal energy into mechanical work of breaking down and moving and splitting apart the rock that is above it to explode. So we're in it's all inflated and now we're just waiting for it to pop. Like the balloon's not getting any bigger, the skin is stretching and it'll pop any minute. Looks like it could erupt within the next 5 to 10 days. And if there's any correlation whatsoever with solar flares and volcanic activity, looks like we've got some awesome conditions for any eruptions that are trying to happen right now. Here's a great image of Semeru. Let's look at Mount Ibu volcano. Looking pretty solid there. Oh, and this is the gorgeous picture of Popo that I wanted to show. Look at that beautiful sunset picture of, or is it sunrise? Anyway, really well lit pictures of Popocatépetl erupting, seen from Puebla town. Really gorgeous. This shows really good visuals of atmospheric optics too. If you look, this is how you can see sunrise and sunset colorations throughout the atmosphere. The different amounts of atmosphere that the light had to travel through to get from the sun to what it bounced off of to your eye is what determines what shade or color this is going to be. So light up here that's a little yellowed, it didn't have to go through quite as much atmosphere as the pinker areas. These pink areas are going to have gone through both all the atmosphere they came through to get to the cloud and all the atmosphere they went through to get to you. And since the atmosphere gets thinner as you go up, the lower down in the atmosphere light wave travels through, the more particles it'll have to do what's called Rayleigh diffraction around and through in order to bounce off the cloud and get to your eye. So the volcano here isn't like pink itself, but all the volcanic ash is definitely contributing to the Rayleigh scattering that colors this this eruption. And it shows gorgeous, beautiful example of the thickness of the Earth's atmosphere and the density of atmospheric particles that you would have to diffract around as light. And Rayleigh scattering is blue. It's the same reason why the sky is blue, is the same reason why the sunset's orange, is the orange, pink, purple is the opposite end mixing of the wavelengths of light that are scattered out in different directions based on that type of light scattering. Okay, so pretty pretty large. Let's see, latest quakes around the world 31 minutes ago, so within the broadcast. Magnitude 6.3 earthquake and the southern East Pacific rise. Oh, that doesn't even say. That's incorrect. Yeah, there we go. Let's look at this. Yeah, right here. Got magnitude 6.3 at 2 kilometers depth. That is really seismic antipode, Afghanistan. So on the other side of the world, where we had these like a 3-pronged area of continued shallow earthquakes, we got this extremely shallow and strong earthquake on the other side, equivalent to 2.7 atomic bombs going off in the Southern Pacific rise. Southern East Pacific rise, excuse me, at 6:51 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Beautiful. We're already seeing some nice increase in activity. I wonder how we're looking average. We're looking average for our number of quakes today. Okay. Wow. Y'all, I have talked so much today. Let's go ahead and see what hour we are in, because we started this broadcast in a Jupiter day, in a Mercury hour, and yes, now we are in a Jupiter day in a Saturn hour. So, Venus is making her way downtown, walking past Mars. Yeah, things are going nicely. If you like everything to fall apart. If you're one sick little freak who likes to see things break and be bad, not be bad, but be changed. If you like to see things change, things are changing. Nice square between the moon in Leo and the current placement of Uranus and Taurus. Love that square energy. We're going to work together. We got to love this change. We got to embrace this change in our body and our ego, and not get so scared that our entire social networks are changing, because they're changing. It's not just a crumbling where you have to decompose in order to build back up. So I'm going to go ahead and hide that from the stream. I want to go ahead and I'm now feeling like the tarot cards were waiting for a long time. They didn't want to be taken out for a second, because I think they were charging and waiting for these X flares to come through. One thing I wanted to mention, it was so cool to see this week. One of my favorite podcasters, follow her on Patreon, Jessa Reed, released an episode with Andrea Land about the Schumann Resonances and solar flares and space weather. And that was released on the 21st, right when we went from that area of super quiet weather to just 3 X-class flares right in a row. So I personally am wondering what the effect of raising people's awareness of these things has on trigger points for these occurrences. Really interesting to see all this activity happen right after Jessa released that podcast. I hope she puts it on a public page, because it was a really good description of the Schumann Resonances. And I do plan to add Schumann Resonances to the updates, but I just don't have enough. I have not felt confident enough in my understanding of the Schumann Resonances, other than the heartbeat of the atmosphere, in order to report on them effectively. I still can't look at the maps or the graphics and know exactly what's going on, where I feel like nobody ever knows exactly what's going on. But I'm going to get there with my research on different types of solar weather, geomagnetic, geosphere weather soon. And I'll add that to this podcast. So, got my labradorite flashy, showing its little flashes. Keeping my tarot cards safe. Let's see. What is the cosmic weather? Y'all, what is the cosmic weather that's coming? Let's see the cosmic weather. Okay. All right. Alrighty then. We pulled the King of Cups upright, which we have been talking about for a while. We just talked about the King of Swords, and knowing when to be quiet and when not to be. King of Cups looking a little withholding, but knowing when to be emotional and when not to be. Kind of the executor of emotion. Executive functioning with emotion. Oh, couldn't be me. We got the Two of Swords upright. Again, being placed in a decision pattern, a holding pattern, being put in a still decision pattern of your own making. Also being kind of vulnerable and tapping into the psychic energy of the moon and ocean present in the background. To air energy. So this is a very 2 day, and there's still an air stellium in Aquarius. And I believe this represents the first decan of Libra, if I'm not mistaken, or is associated with it. So we're looking at like a making indecision of your own making energy here. Now, the third card we got was the Ten of Swords, but in reverse. So, Ten of Swords is when you don't just get stabbed once, you get stabbed 10 times. These are swords way bigger than you could have put in your back. So definitely, he's dead, he's already dead energy. But we're turning this around. We are turning this vibe into somehow turning the tables with this. I want to go ahead and read an interpretation I've read of this one before. It comes to us from, let me see. Yeah, Biddy Tarot. That's who I want to look at. Okay. Ten of Swords reversed represents recovery, rejuvenation, resisting an inevitable end. So, let's see. Ten of Swords reversed indicates that you are combating an inevitable change or ending because you are not ready to face up to what is happening. However, the more you resist, the more this situation will continue to drag on. So it's time to rip off the bandage, however painful that might be, and get this over with so you can start fresh. Trust that everything is happening for a reason, and even though it may be difficult to understand what you're going through, know it is leading to your personal growth and regeneration in the long term. Similarly, the Ten of Swords reversed may represent an old situation that ended badly. You're still carrying around wounds from it, but have buried them so deep that you do not realize they are still present and hurting you. These old pains need to be dealt with once and for all. It may be difficult to delve back in, but it's the only way to release yourself of this pain and allow it to pass from your life. The Ten of Swords reversed encourages you to reevaluate your circumstances and let go of any aspect of your life that is no longer serving you. Rather than dwelling on your painful past, it is essential to look ahead and realize how these events free you up to reshape your life and choose a new direction for yourself. You can free yourself of your past and create a new sense of self. Finally, the Ten of Swords reverse can appear as a welcome sign that the pain and sadness you've been feeling is ending. When upside down, the swords in the man's back look to be falling out, releasing him of the pain and hurt he's been suffering. You're releasing the memories of the past and allowing yourself the opportunity to move forward with a sense of renewal and hope for the future. So that was the part that I was getting at, is when you turn this card upside down, it's not like he's resting on the swords. It's like the swords are falling out of his back, maybe gonna rain down from the cloud. Finally work their way free. And get I'm gonna do a small look at the Biddy Tarot interpretations of these other two as well. Okay, Two of Swords. Upright. Difficult decisions, weighing up options, and impasse avoidance. Doesn't this all feel like the other shoe's about to drop? Like I was saying, we've been quiet for a while and now it's about to explode. Okay. Two of Swords indicates that you are facing challenging decision, but you're unclear about which option to take. Both possibilities may seem equally good or equally bad, and you're stumped about which will lead you to the best outcomes. You must be able to weigh up the pros and cons of each choice and then make a conscious judgment. Use both your head, your mind and the intellect, and your heart, your feelings and intuition, to choose the path that is most in alignment with your higher self. Oh yeah, I wanted to point out that this is kind of hearkening to the Justice card, or the archetype of Justice being blind. This being the first card with the first decan of Libra. Like, this is a time to make those rational decisions and think about what you are saying and doing and what you're choosing between. Okay. Then if we get into the King of Cups on this website, let's take a look. Okay, go to the Suit of Cups. Okay. The King of Cups upright, is emotionally balanced, compassionate, and diplomatic. It's that reversal of King of Cups that gets toxic. The King of Cups represents mastery over the realms of emotion, creativity, and the unconscious. Ah! Don't talk to me! What are you saying? I'm on TV. It's the King of Cups. He's talking to me. King of Cups represents mastery over the realms of emotion, creativity, and the unconscious. When this card turns up in a tarot reading, you have gained control of your feelings and can accept them without allowing them to get the better of you. Even when life throws you a curveball, you can draw on your emotional maturity and stability to help you navigate these challenges. You don't let things get to you and you steer clear of the drama, instead choosing an emotionally balanced and calm approach. If you're being challenged personally, the King of Cups suggests that you need to remain emotionally mature when faced with negative energy from others. Be firm on your personal boundaries, stating what is and what is not acceptable on an emotional level. This king is level-headed and in control of his emotions. He uses intellect to make smart decisions and does not let other circumstances or whims sway him from his central beliefs and morals. Stay true to your emotions and feelings and do not allow others to steer you off course. The King of Cups embodies the perfect balance between the executive and the heart. What was I saying? Feelings and emotional executive functioning. Not only are you able to assess and manage the situation logically, but you can draw upon your intuition and understanding of human interactions. As a leader, you care about much more about achieving your goals and objectives as you do making sure everybody else is happy and engaged along the way. If you sense that logic and emotion are out of balance, draw on the energy of this king to realign yourself. As a king, he has masculine, fatherly energy, and as a cups card, he brings his emotional self to the forefront. He offers wise advice when it comes to feelings, emotions, creativity, and relationships, and can see that the human dynamic is in its entirety. The King of Cups is compassionate towards others, creating strong bonds and relationships based on patience and understanding. As you interact with others, you may need to navigate their strong feelings and emotional triggers so that you can create a sense of peace in your interactions. You may appear in your life as a mentor, coach, or spiritual guide, or you may step up into this role yourself. So, quite a set of cards to get together. I think that we're going to figure out, we're finally collectively on the verge of making the conscious choice to be in the right state of mind in order to channel a higher value of King of Cups, let go of our traumas and stop letting them pin us down. We just have to choose that, and it doesn't make it'll be so. I feel like there are so many decisions to make here, but they're annoyingly clear what you need to do. You just don't want to see how making these healthy decisions could help you release the past pain, and really thinking about your emotions and not just like trying to overanalyze them, but like let yourself feel your emotions so that you have all the information available to make your decision. If you listen to all of your emotions in your whole body and understand where every single point of pain is and where every single thought has stabbed you in the back, where every single thought is kept as a piece of trauma stored in the body, then you'll be able to make this Two of Swords decision pretty easily. But we need to combine the King of Cups with the Ten of Swords reversed in order to make a Two of Swords decision. And that's not easy. It's not easy to face all of your wounds all at once, even though that's your body is a weather station in more ways than one, and the trauma you go through it's data inside your body of what the trauma was, why this part of your back hurts as opposed to this one, why this pit in your stomach always arises when you think of the one thing, why this one area of your body makes you feel this certain emotion when you stretch it. That's all information that you need to be able to identify where you're storing trauma in the body and where you can release it, so that your nervous system will be able to be in a state of polyvagal flow, so that you'll be able to make a nice balanced decision, not an impulsive one. This isn't a fool card. This is more of a justice card. This is weighing and deliberating and really taking in all the information before you make a decision. So I think that the solar weather coming at us right now is really going to highlight where in our body we have that residual tension and nervousness and anxiety trapped up. And this is going to be a great opportunity to learn about where our biggest pains are in order to heal them. You don't heal something you don't know is there. You have to be made aware of what hurts and what's wrong and what's out of balance in your life in order to heal it. So I think we're being given a great opportunity for that right now this week with some really hard stuff coming up. So I love you all very much. Thank you so much for sticking around for this hour and a half episode of Today's Weather Tonight. I had so much to get through. I think we plowed through it pretty well. But again, thank you. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great evening. I love you very much. Bye.